Let me push my button. Hello, gamers. We are back into the second day of the third episode of Phoenix Wright. About to go, I believe, to trial here for our boy Will Powers, who everyone seems to think is hideous for some reason. Let's go. Let's get it. Turnabout Samurai. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Why is it always this fuck? Why is it always him? What's he about? Why is he always here? It's always him. They couldn't make other characters. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Very well. Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. Prosecution will show the court that at 2:30 p.m. on October 15th, the defendant, Mr. Will Powers, killed fellow actor Jack Hammer in Studio 1 of Global Studios. It is impossible for anyone else to have committed this heinous crime. The evidence presented during the trial will all point to this fact. I see. Very well. Would you like to move on to some testimony? Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution may call its first witness. Very well. I call the most familiar face, Detective Gumshoe, to the stand. Excuse me. Oh no, I breathed in water. Sorry. Ah! Oh my god, I'm sorry. Detective Edgeworth. Detective Edgeworth. Oh my god, I'm all kinds of messed up. I hate breathing in water. Detective, if you would briefly describe this case to the court. Yes, sir. I'll explain it with the guide map here. To understand this case, it's important to grasp the layout of the studio, see? Here is the employee area. The actors did a run through the action scenes during the morning here. The main gate, this is the main gate to the studios. The security lady that works the studio was here at 1 p.m. that day. Past the security station, there's a gate, see? Past that is the studios. And here it is, Studio 1. This is the scene of the murder where the body's found. Now, on the day of the murder, October 15th, there were only 3 people here. The victim, Jack Hammer, the defendant, Will Powers, and a young woman, the production assistant. All the production staff were at the employee area till noon. After lunch, the victim, Jack Hammer, went to the studio. Right after that, at 1 p.m., the security lady got to the guard station. Now, jump ahead to later that day, 5 p.m. The production staff came into Studio 1 to perform a rehearsal. Needless to say, the rehearsal was canceled. The time of death was 2:30. Samurai spear found lodged in the victim's chest was the murder weapon. That's the case in brief. Anyone like to hear that again? No. Yeah, we can remember that. So the murder weapon was a spear. How medieval. Samurai spear. This was a spear found stuck in the chest of the victim. Your Honor, this case is quite simple if you ask one question. And that question is, what did the security lady at the guard station see? Understood. Let's call the security officers to the stand. Oh boy. Will the witness declare her name? Aren't you a handsome fella? I'm afraid I'm a bit flustered. Oh my god. Oh, dear Lord. Oh, Jesus Christ. Your name, please. Oh, dearie. No need for you to be embarrassed. Just call me Grandma. Your name, please. Seems Edgeworth has had a bit of trouble getting his witnesses to say their names. Wendy, old bag, dearie. Just call me Grandma. Why is she saying that? Hello, Raiders. Welcome. This is my day 2 of my first playthrough of the Phoenix The Phoenix Wright. I'm having so much trouble talking today. Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright playthroughs. We're on the first game, episode 3, with the samurai warrior. Just started the court section of this where we're meeting Grandma. Anyways. Objection. I object to the witness's talkativeness. Objection sustained. The witness will refrain from rambling on the stand. As I was getting to the good part, Dreary. Perhaps we can get the testimony? Now, the witness was stationed at the main gate the day of the murder, correct? Yes, I was. And to get to the scene of the murder, someone would have to pass by you? Oh, you know your stuff, dearie. You may begin with your testimony. She sure is one hell of an old bag. I'll close my door real quick. All right. Let's go testimony time. On the day of the murder, I arrived at the guard station at 1 p.m. Poor old Hammer and the rest have been doing a run through there since that morning. I had some errands to run that morning. Anyway, it was 1 when I got to the guard station. I was at the main gate from that until 5. Now, the murder happened at 2:30 p.m., right? Interesting to me because a certain man walked by me right at 2 p.m. It was Powers, the man right there, and he was heading towards the studio. You saw the defendant then? Very well. Let's begin the cross-examination. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. All right, here we go. Cross-exam time. After I do a little save, do a save, yeah, do a save, hold it. So up until that time, anyone who wanted to go could go into the studio. See, that's my thought. There's not a lot of time between 1 and 2:30. Well, there wasn't a security guard at the gate, no. But the main gate was locked, dearie. You need an employee key card to get in. Right, the card key that I have. So what she's saying is no one wasn't supposed to be in there could get in. Was there anyone at the studios when you arrived to the guard station? Poor old Hammer and the rest have been doing a run-through since that morning. A run-through? They were working out a scene between the Steel Samurai and the evil magistrate. They got the basics figured out by noon. And oh my god, sorry y'all, my throat is dry. They got the basics figured out by noon and were to use the afternoon for practice. Rehearsal was supposed to start at 5. That's why poor old Hammer was Studio 1 in the afternoon. Mr. Powers was in his dressing room sleeping when he was supposed to be practicing. Talk about a laid-back hero. If there was a run-through in the morning, why did you only get there in the afternoon? Well, I had some errands to run that morning. Hold it. What kind of errands? Oh, well, you know. Answer the question. Actually, I was watching poor Hammers and Powers, observing, you know. Observing? Weren't you supposed to be at the guard station? Whippersnapper! I told you I'd lock the gate, didn't I? I did my job. I'm not sure your boss would see it that way. Anyway, I always watch Hammers run through. Always. Never missed one in all my years. Wow, I want to see a Steel Samurai run through too. Could quit being a spirit medium and go take up a guard duty. Not a bad idea. Anyway, it was 1 when I got to the guard station. Did you see the victim then? Did I see old poor Hammer? Nope. He'd already gone to the studio before I got back to the guard station. Tell us what happened next. I was at the main gate from until 5. So you're watching there the whole time? No breaks? Not even a second? Of course! I'm a professional, you know. Were you criticizing how I do my job, whippersnapper? No, it's just after seeing you eat those donuts at the guard station yesterday. I can watch the gate and eat donuts at the same time. Snipper-wapper. Snipper-wapper. Oh, Windbag is losing it, Nick. Why did you raise an objection? So the witness was on duty in the afternoon the whole time. Very well. What did you see? Now, the murder happened at 2:30. How did you know that? Oh, ho, ho, I have my ways. That overdressed young detective told me. I fed him some donuts and he talked and talked. If you ask me, that detective isn't cut out for his job. Oh my gosh, she's the worst. Poor Gumshoe. Gumshoe doesn't deserve that. Interesting to me because a certain man walked by. 2. You sure? Sure as a spit. Really, you should try not to get so excited at your age. You might strain something. Now, don't get your skivvies in a bit. What is this lady is driving me nuts. It was Powers, okay? So you saw Mr. Powers. That's what I said. Got wax in your ears, Sonny? Nick, this is your chance. Yeah, time to pull out a secret weapon. I'll say it again. It was him. It was Powers. The man right there is heading towards the studio. All right. Let's present our photo. Let me get this straight, old bag. Miss Old Bag. You've been saying since yesterday that you saw Mr. Powers, correct? But you're talking about the man in this photo, aren't you? Just a moment, Mr. Wright. Let me see that photo. What is this exactly? None other than the Steel Samurai, defender of Neo-Old Tokyo. Ms. Oldbag. Is this the Mr. Powers that you saw? Of course. Didn't your mama teach you any sense, Sonny? Anyone can plainly see that's Powers, right? No, they can't. Well, I mean, I wonder. True, Mr. Powers does play the role of Steel Samurai. But that doesn't mean Mr. Powers is the Steel Samurai. I know that. I wasn't born yesterday. No one in this court is accusing you of that, Miss, witness. He's having trouble calling her old bag, apparently. However, you do not have proof that the person in this photo is Mr. Will Powers, do you? Huh, nosy old man. Of course I have proof. What? Huh? Even Edgeworth is surprised. The prosecution would like to ask the witness. Please, make known all your information in your possession ahead of time. How was I to know everyone would be so nosy? You should be ashamed of yourselves. Anyway, I showed that photo to the young detective. He told me this isn't good as evidence. This isn't any good as evidence, pal. He didn't even give it a second look. Wow, old Windbag has left even Edgeworth speechless. She's good. Let's hear about your proof then. My oh my. I never saw anything I don't mean, mind you. That morning during the run through the action scene, I saw Powers trip and fall. He broke one of the props. It was a big mess. Apparently, he sprained his ankle pretty bad. Now look at that picture. You can see he's dragging his leg. See? Clear as day. That's how I knew it was Powers. Happy? Yeah, just like It's not solid enough. There's not solid enough evidence, you know? It's just not. All right. I never say anything I don't mean, mind you. Whippersnapper! Hey, I haven't said anything yet. I'll just let you know I'm not pointing fingers at anyone behind their back. Everything I said is on the straight and narrow. The up and up. Youth today always whining and pointing fingers and making an old lady cry. Mr. Wright, please, for our sakes, try not to upset the witness. Thinks Edgeworth has met his match. Morning, I was during the run-through of the action scene. Who was present at the run-through? Well, let's see. There was Powers, he's the Steel Samurai, the Pulled Hammer, the evil magistrate, and me. And what exactly were you doing? Observing, just observing. What about the assistant? Oh, she was off moving backdrops around and such. So she didn't see the run-through then. I saw Powers trip and fall. Trip and fall? Yes, and to think he's supposed to be the Steel Samurai. What a laugh. So Powers strained his ankle. I've helped to make it better for him, of course. You helped make it better? I kissed it where it hurt. Let's skip over that part, shall we? Where was the assistant then? Oh, her? She was cleaning the backdrops, I think. She didn't know about Powers' ankle. You may continue with your testimony. He broke one of the props. It was a big mess. He broke a prop? Sure did. His own samurai spear. His samurai spear? The murder weapon? Luckily, I was there with my duct tape to fix it. Strikes me as a significant detail. I better write this down in the court record. Murder weapon, a break in the shaft has been mended with duct tape. Apparently, he sprained his ankle pretty bad. Was Mr. Powers' ankle badly sprained? Not so bad that he couldn't walk around. He went to his dressing room to rest up after lunch. Thus the nap. Anyway, I saw him dragging his foot when he walked. Dragging his foot. Okay. I think we've heard enough. Haven't we, Your Honor? Well, there is one thing that bothers me. Which is, where is the Steel Samurai costume now? Actually, well, we couldn't find it. We're looking, though. Anyway, that's not important. The witness did see the Steel Samurai, yes? And it is clear that the person in the Steel Samurai suit is Mr. Will Powers. I suppose that's right. You sure, Your Honor? Object! Hold it right there. We keep talking possibilities, but we have to agree that this photo shows the Steel Samurai. Nowhere in the photo can we see Mr. Will Powers. The defense has a point. I also wonder if someone else not caught on camera could have killed Mr. Hammer. We have to consider that possibility also. Then allow me to remove that doubt from your mind, Your Honor. Will the witness continue her testimony, please? No need to ask twice. The time of poor Hammer's death was 2:30 p.m., true? The only person I saw go to the studio before then was Will Powers. No one else went there. If they had, I would have seen them. So, if no one went to the studio, then it would have to be the Steel Samurai who did it. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. The time of poor Hammer's death was 2:30, true? How do you know that? Didn't I just explain? I gave donuts to the young detective. And then, after some rubbish about it being a secret pal, he told me everything. I see Detective Gumshoe shares his fellow officer's fondness for donuts. The only person I saw go into the studio before then was Will Powers. Are you absolutely sure? Quite, Sonny. Nobody suspicious looking passed by at all. Nobody suspicious looking. Right. No one else went in there. What about before you got to the guard station? You mean before 1? Yes. Why, everyone was at the employee area before then. And I locked the main gate so no one could get in. Not to mention, if they had, I would have seen them. Are you sure? The witness has answered the question. If anyone goes into the studio, anyone going into the studio has to pass by the witness. That's right, Sonny. You let them have it, edgy boy. Edgy boy? Old windbag sure has balls, or, well, you know what I mean. Old windbags have a way of skipping over important details after all. Or, for that matter, entirely forgetting them. How convenient. Something for you to look forward to? Oh my god! These people are wilding in this game. Alright, the poor Hammer's death was 2:30. The only person I saw go to the studio before them was Will Powers. No one else went in there. If they had, I would have seen them. Okay. So for me, let's look at our evidence here. For me, the big thing that really gets me currently is this whole Studio 2 situation, and obviously the connection with that being that people can get in here. Like my thought is that someone went in doing like a tour around the studio, whatever, they paid for to go in, and they went to that Studio 2 area, hid out, and the camera didn't catch them. So I think like that's like somehow proving that someone else was there, and that this is like the person didn't fit this outfit, and that's why the leg is dragging. So I just need to the only person I saw go to the studio beforehand was Will Powers. No one else went in there. If they had, I would have seen them. And I think, oops. Can I use this map, maybe? Your Honor, that statement count. No, it doesn't. Because that's what he says when it doesn't. If they had, I would have seen them. No one else went in there. I already went through this. How do you know that? Person I saw go in the studio for then was Will Powers. Can I like... Hold on, look at this photograph one more time. The photo was taken by the camera at the gate for the studios, correct? Yes, sirree, son. So whenever someone passes by here, it automatically takes a photo. And here, I thought you didn't know your head from a hole in the ground. Right, anyway. It's also true that the computer in the guard station records all security cam data. Oh, you know, if you wanted to work the studio, we might have an opening. That very computer printed out this photo. Note that on the back of the photo are printed the words October 15th, 2 p.m., photo number 2. Even I know that means that it was taken on 2 p.m. on October 15th. Really, Sonny? Actually, I knew that too. The issue here is the bit at the end that says photo number 2. Photo number 2? The computer only held the data for one photo on that day. Don't you think that's odd? Shouldn't this photo be photo number 1 if it really was the only photo? Order! Order! Please tell the court what you mean by that, Mr. Wright. Actually, that's what I want to ask the witness. This evidence shows not 1 but 2 people went to the studio that day. Yet, there is only data for 1 of the photos? Who could have erased the data on the other photo? Only someone with access, the security lady herself. Eh? You watch your mouth, whippersnapper. The only person I saw that day was Will Powers. But the camera on the gate fired twice. That means 2 people went by. Well, yes, that's what would seem to mean. Can the witness explain this to the court? I don't understand these newfangled computer things. Edgy boy, please. Believe me, I want to, but I don't know what that means either. Huh. Some help you are. You're a whippersnapper too. Whippersnapper? Something the matter, Miss Oldbag? Ah, that's right. I just remembered something. Let me guess. Someone else passed by the gate? Someone other than the Steel Samurai? Well, yes, I suppose you could put it that way. I see. Your testimony, please. Every day after I finish my guard duties, I have one other important job to do. You go through the photos recorded on the security computer and check them. I throw out any photos that aren't suspicious looking, you see. Come to think of it, now I remember throwing out one photo that day. Sold bag. This is the first time I've heard of this. Well, of course, Sonny. I've only just remembered it. Right. Anyway, Mr. Wright, please begin the cross-examination. I'd say this was a term for the unexpected, but I kind of expected this. Ma'am, that's a little problematic, ma'am. That do be a little problematic, but... Alright, every day after I finish my guard duties, I have one other important job to do. Another job? That's right. I check all the people that passed by the main gate that day. Look closely at every one of the photos that the security camera takes. Do you back up all the security camera data? Well, they keep telling me to, yes, but those computers are just so frustrating. I throw out any photos that aren't suspicious looking. How exactly do you determine what isn't suspicious? Thank you. That's what I was thinking. Oh, you can tell by looking at their faces. What? For the most part, this is a murder trial, Miss Oldbag. Well, I didn't touch the suspicious-looking Will Powers photo, did I? I think she's missing the point. Come to think of it, now I remember throwing out one photo. Well, who in the heck was in the photo you erased? A fanboy. Fanboy? Steel Samurai fanboys, real freaks if you ask me. They get information about the rehearsals from gosh knows where. They're always hanging about. One was there that day. Wait a second. Didn't you say no one else could get in? I locked the main gate so no one else could get in. Those were your words. Well, if you must know, there's a drain that goes into the employee area. The grate has been loose there for a while. Leads outside, and well, that's where they come in. They come in through the drain. I told you they were freaks. Oh, and they're kids, children, whippersnappers. Kids. So on the photo that you erased, it was a boy, probably 2nd or 3rd grade. What? He vented. The boy vented. Order. Let me get this straight. You saw 2 people pass by the gate on the way to the studio that day. One was the Steel Samurai dragging his leg. The other was a boy who looked to be about 2nd or 3rd grade. Well, yes, we see his type there every day. Can't stop him. Can't catch him. A boy in 2nd or 3rd grade. I assume it would be hard, if not impossible, for a young boy to wield a samurai spear. Impossible, I think. It's quite heavy. Right. As I said, I didn't pay him much mind. That's why I erased the data. Nick, what's going on? I mean, the boy was there. That makes him a suspect. Yeah, and they're already trying to unsuspect him. This court will take a 5-minute recess. I want the defense and the prosecution to consider the new information. And no forgetting vital information this time. Trouble. Big trouble. Mr. Powers. Yes? Tell me straight. Were you really in your dressing room? You didn't go to the studio? I didn't go to the studio. I was sleeping, honest. So who is the Steel Samurai in the security photo? How should I know? The Steel Samurai costume was off at the corner of the dressing room. Anyone could have walked in and taken it, really. What? You should take better care of that stuff. I couldn't imagine anyone wanting to steal the Steel Samurai costume. So, where does this leave me? It doesn't look good. You're the only likely suspect right now. Nick, what are we going to do? First, we play for more time. We'll start targeting someone else that could conceivably have done this. Right. And it will take them so long to shoot us down that we can get another day. Right, but if we pick the wrong person, we might lose on the spot. You don't sound very optimistic. I'm not optimistic at all, actually. Hey, Nick, it's time. Okay, let's go. What does that mean? Please don't sigh like that. It's a kid! The kid vented and he did it! Court will now reconvene the trial of Mr. Will Powers. Mr. Edgeworth, will you present the prosecution's thoughts on this matter? The prosecution's thoughts are simple. Nothing has changed. The other person who went to the studios was a boy of roughly 10 years of age. The photo we do have may not be hard evidence. But there is still no one else that could have committed this crime. I call for the verdict of guilty for the defendant, Mr. Will Powers. Very well. Mr. Wright, your thoughts? The defense disagrees with the prosecution's claim. There is another person who could have committed this crime. Order! Interesting. Let us hear who you have on your mind. However, be aware that the court does not look kindly to accusing the innocent. If you accuse someone who is obviously innocent, you will be penalized. Alright, who's my options? The assistant girl, the grade school boy, the security. Well, here's the thing, is I want to blame the boy, but I don't know if they're gonna be like, that person's obviously innocent. So, we'll try boy. It was the grade school boy. Why isn't anyone saying anything? Bah! Are you seriously suggesting the boy did it, Mr. Wright? Grade school boy kills veteran action star with a spear. For one thing, the murder weapon was the Steel Samurai sword. Would you care to explain how a boy would have obtained that from him? Oh, maybe it was a dumb move on my part. Maybe? Maybe? How about absolutely, Nick? Mr. Wright, I'm afraid... No! The assistant girl. Steel Samurai costume was in its dressing room. She stole it, and in doing so, she became the Steel Samurai. So you're saying the Steel Samurai in the picture is really the assistant. That's correct, Your Honor. If you're serious, you've got guts, Mr. Wright. Remember that photo? Wasn't the Steel Samurai a little lame? He was dragging his foot. Oh, bad feeling time. Remember the testimony concerning Powers' injury. Powers and poor Hammer were at the run-through, and me... What about the assistant or her? She was cleaning. I don't know about Powers, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The assistant knew nothing of Powers' injury. She could look like the Steel Samurai with that costume, but she couldn't walk like the Steel Samurai walk. She wouldn't have limped. I just like don't agree with that. I don't agree with all that. I don't agree with all of that. I'm gonna load before I got all these penalties. It was the security lady, Wendy Oldbag. The Steel Samurai was dragging his leg in this picture. That means whoever was in the suit knew about that injury. That was my thought the whole time. Maybe because they had been watching the action scene run through. And the only one other person than Powers and Hammers who knew about the injury, the security lady, Oldbag.
What? Nip whippersnapper!
Order! Order! Is this true, Oldbag?
Oldbag? That's Miss Oldbag to you!
Miss Oldbag was standing guard alone at the main gate. She was by herself. In other words, she has no alibi. She could have briefly left her post to steal the Steel Samurai costume. Then slipped into Studio 1, the scene of the murder. Well, why would she go through all the trouble of wearing the Steel Samurai costume? Simple, Your Honor. She knew the camera at the gate would take a picture of her. She was in his costume and she could point her finger at Mr. Powers. I see. Excellent deductive reasoning, Mr. Wright. Oh yeah, right there. Sherlock Holmes too. Oh my god. Nick. That's odd. Isn't this the part where Edgeworth pounces? Doesn't he usually jump up with an objection and some new damning evidence? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution have an opinion on this matter? The prosecution has no meaningful objections at this time.
What?
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, so you all think I did it, is that it? Edgy boy, don't just sit there, do something!
What's my move? Maybe now's my chance to take this thing the whole way?
Do it!
Got it! The very same reasoning that makes Mr. Powers a suspect in this case can be used to cast doubt on Miss Oldbag's actions that day.
But why would I do something so horrible to poor Mr. Hammer?
You forget that Mr. Powers lacks clear motive too. Indeed. That did it. Now Windbag is one of the suspects. No hard feelings, I hope.
Just wait a minute! What about the other person who went to the studio? The boy! The one whose photo I erased.
He's only a grade schooler though, as you said. 2nd or 3rd grade, was it?
That doesn't matter. When I was that age, I could pin my old man in 10 seconds tops.
Your thoughts, Mr. Wright? That boy is not the killer.
How could you be so sure? Oh, and is it be nice to your kids and mean to your elders day, whippersnapper?
I have proof.
Proof?
Indeed. Then let's see this proof, Mr. Wright. That? Your Honor, the murder weapon was a samurai spear. The very sphere is shown here in this photo. How could the boy have taken the sphere? It's impossible. Yeah, exactly. He didn't invent and kill him. That was not what I was definitely not thinking that this was the way the thing. No. I didn't think that. Did you? No one thought that. No. Well, would the witness care to comment on this? The windbag is speechless. This has to be a first. Very well. The court will suspend proceedings for the current trial for today. Mr. Edward, please find out more about your witness. Miss Windy is her name? Something old bag, Your Honor. Then the prosecution will look further into this old bag before we continue. That is all. This court is adjourned.
Wait a second. I'm not going to sit here while you run off barking up the wrong tree. Me. I'm talking.
Oh, great. Stop the presses. The windbag wants to talk. Miss Oldbag, what is this about? Have you admitted something from your testimony?
Actually, if you must know, there's something I was told not to talk about.
Not talk about? By whom? Huh? You mean it wasn't Edgeworth who told her not to talk? Well, testify. Okay.
Global Studios wanted me to keep quiet about something. There were some other people at the studios on the day of the murder. They said they had nothing to do with it, see? They told me to just pretend they hadn't been at the studios that day. But if you're going to go accusing me, I'm not letting them get away scot-free.
Oh, yeah, Miss Oldbag. This is crucial information. Why did you keep this from the court until now?
Ain't you been listening? They told me to shut my trap, but I always do what I'm told.
Mr. Wright, your cross-examination. All right, we're still going. We're still going. We'll do a little save here. All right. Global Studios wanted me to keep quiet. So you were told not to talk.
That's right, by the studios and the TV bigwigs, no less.
Why didn't I hear about this?
Don't be too hard on yourself, Sonny. We were all in on it. There were some other people in the studios on the day of the murder.
Who are these people?
Well, the director and the producer, for starters.
The director? I should have known something was fishy. How could they have done a run-through of their action scene without a director? I was also thinking about that. I had that in my brain. My brain juice had that too. Of course.
Yes, well, I was surprised no one talked about it.
So where were these people?
The director was in the employee area all morning for the run-through. He joined the producer around lunchtime and they had a meeting after that.
Where?
In the Studio 2 trailer.
Studio 2? Yes, there was a Studio 2. I brought it up. Hello? Hello? It's huge. It's right there.
The path where the monkeys had fallen over.
Well, Mr. Wright, would you like to cross-examine? I already asked all my questions, but...
They said they had nothing to do with it, see?
Miss Oldbag, this is a trial for murder.
I know that's silly. So they were pretty convincing about having nothing to do with it. And they already had given me a bonus on the side.
So you got your bonus and still talked. I think I've asked all the questions I need to ask. The game really wants me to take a break, I guess. Your Honor, we have learned there were others at Global Studios on the day in question. The director and the producer and some bigwigs were all present. Yet, as we stand here, they have not been questioned. I hold that it is impossible to declare a verdict on the defendant, Mr. Powers. The court acknowledges the defense's point. Prosecution will gather more information about the witness, Miss Oldbag, and more information on these other people who have just been told of. I understand, Your Honor. This ends today's proceedings of the trial of Mr. Will Powers. This is all. Court is adjourned. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. I was right to ask you to defend me.
Oh, really? It's nothing. Oh, or should I?
Well, we'll be going down to the studios to get some more investigating. I'd find out more about this director and producer. They'll be turning up to the next trial as witnesses, for certain. Now is my chance to get material for cross-examination.
So, Nick, have we figured out who was in that steel samurai costume? Could it really have been old Windbag?
What do you think, Mr. Powers? I don't know if it was her, really.
Neither do I, Nick.
Yeah, I know. Look, I was just buying time back there. Someone has to be the bad guy for a bit to take the pressure off Mr. Powers.
Oh, poor old Windbag. I feel kind of sorry for her.
Back with pizza, have they given Maya the death penalty yet? No, it's not Maya. Also, yum, happy, oh, it's Saturday. I thought it was Pizza Friday.
What kind of pizza did you get?
Well, she wasn't winning any points in there, with or without my accusation. Okay, let's get down to the studios.
Right. We'll be back to visit you soon.
Thanks, you guys.